Don, it would be interesting, as from my perspective as a client, potentially to understand you as that third party or that agency. Kind of as I mentioned, you've got the constituents that would be part of this process, and it would obviously be very interesting to understand from your perspective, those three firms or three constituents: the clients, myself in this case, the candidate, and then of course the firm, which would be you. I'd ask you kind of about your thoughts in these areas. So how about, Don, the candidate viewpoint? What's your perspective there?
Yeah, that's a great question, John. And my main concern, I guess, with some contingency searches anyway, is kind of what contingency can say about a company's brand. So a few years ago, I had an experience where I called a candidate for a director of manufacturing opportunity at a biotechnology client, and I happened to be, I think, the fourth recruiter that called this particular individual, and he was a good prospect for them. And what he said to me is, "What is you're the fourth recruiter that's called me this week. Is this company desperate?" Mm-hmm. And it kind of set in as I thought about it for a second, because what really happened there is that client, if you will, lost out on that candidate as a result of me being the fourth one unknowingly to in essence call him. And I think that companies need to think about that from the perspective of recruiters going after the same or similar pool of people, and what that can actually do in terms of potential brand damage to a client. I like to think about it anecdotally as a number of sharks swimming around, if you will, a piece of bait in the open water. One thing I like to think about in concert with that is is who's actually delivering the message, if you will, or what I call kind of a pitch person. Professional delivery of the message is very important to attracting the highest performing talent, and an understanding, I think, of the nuances of not only the client themselves, but the overall market landscape can be very important. Finally, what's in it from a candidate point of view. So really understanding deeply why the correct talent would potentially get up and change their chair to you as a new employer. In addition to that, I think retained recruiters are generally seen as more knowledgeable. They also can show that the client is serious about the hire. And, they expect a certain amount, candidates, that is, expect a certain amount of discretion and confidentiality in their representation. So some of those points can also go to, the retained search model versus contingency. And, I think to your point earlier, I mean, some contingent firms also kind of operate with the notion that if I throw enough stuff up on the wall, some of it will stick. So.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. And these days, the candidate experience through the process is critically important to most organizations that care about their brand. And to your point, I think a retained model certainly ensures that the message is consistent with what the organization wants it to be, and that relationship is based on an understanding of that message, and the candidate doesn't have any question about what it means to be part of that organization.